Now, this decision, I know, takes courage. But as a business owner, it's something that we're all going to have to do at some stage. So let's work out some ways that can help you overcome your fears and find the courage to delegate. So when you're delegating, one of the biggest problems we have is this fear that they're not going to do as good a job as you, they won't do it at all, it's all going to be a mess, it's going to take a whole lot of your effort and time to fix things, to teach them, all of those kinds of things. So what you need is really good strategies, not only to teach them, but also to make sure that it's a good quality and that it's transparent so you know what's happening all the time and that you have confidence that things are getting done. Okay? And so I'm not going to talk about today too much about the process of delegating, but basically giving really crystal clear instructions is paramount. You need to provide context, really good instructions, what could go wrong, what to do when things go wrong, why these things need to be done, when they should be done, all of that kind of stuff. So make sure all of that information, the more information you provide, the better. How does it fit into your business? How does it fit into other processes? All of that needs to be provided. But what people are most afraid of is also that once it's handed over, how do you make sure it's still being done and that it's high quality? So checks, balances, measures, all these things can be implemented. Firstly, the process of handing it over, you want to check it on a regular basis, okay? So yes, it takes a little bit of time, but it's not that much time for you to check that someone did the work the way you expected them to, and then for providing really constructive feedback so that they can make sure they do it better next time. So I want you to continually have checks and balances in place. So maybe in the beginning, there's more checks than as an ongoing basis, and then it's just a spot check maybe to make sure it's still happening the way you expected. I also want you to have tracking mechanisms. So maybe you're using tools, online tools. So I like to use online tools so I can see exactly what people are working on and where that project's up to. Have they started it? Is it in progress? What's actually going on with it? I have ways of checking that using technology. So that's probably one of the biggest ones. So make sure you have ways to track that it's happening, ways to check the quality, and then have mechanisms in place to discuss when things aren't going well. So, but it shouldn't be like a blame and because often things aren't going well because they're just missing a piece of information, or there was a miscommunication, or their interpretation was different. So it's normally something simple. People don't set out to do a bad job. They really don't. But there's these small things that can come into play that can mean the job isn't done as well as you'd like. And then the other thing is, sometimes you just got to let go of your idea of how done is done. Let go of perfection. And yes, they're going to do it differently, but make sure they do the things that really matter, and the things that don't matter so much, you're going to have to start letting that go. Okay? And then, if it really matters, then it's built into the process. It's part of a checklist, as an example. It's part of your checks that you do. Maybe there's an approval process on certain things before it goes out to a customer or out to the public. You can build these different checks and balances in, different measures and tracking mechanisms. That's how you get comfort and transparency that things are getting done, and they're getting done the way that you want them to be done. So you don't want to micromanage people, but you want to manage the work. You want to be able to know that it's happening without having to look over someone's shoulder. So use these tools, use these techniques to do that. It just becomes part of your ways of working. So yes, it takes courage to delegate, and I understand all of those fears that you have within you, but there are ways around it, and there are ways to solve that, because you've got to delegate if you want to grow.